Welcome back, you guys, to another video. It is Tuesday. How are you? I hope your week is beginning in a good way. I told you guys I would come back and I would talk about how to be frugal and save some money while you're moving. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. I'm going to break down what we spent on moving this year in 2026 and also what we intend to save when we move again in 2026. So editor, roll the intro. And let's go ahead and talk about this crazy, chaotic thing called moving. Let's get started. Okay, guys, I'm going to back up a little bit because I feel like I'm a little bit too close. Can you tell I just took my hair out of a bun and threw a hat on? I had to at least try to appear a little bit presentable for you guys. I told you guys I still can't find half the things I need just to get myself decent. I can't even find my damn tweezers. I'm just being honest. But today we're going to talk about moving. I am wearing my clearance Miller Life sweatshirt I got from Walmart. I will link that below. This little baby bad boy was on sale for $6.86. It is a men's medium. So that's what I'm wearing. It actually washed really well. It is on the thinner side, but I like that about it because it makes it comfy and cozy for the spring and summer. That way, you know, if you're inside and the air gets a little bit chilly, but everybody else is kind of warm, you can kind of, you know, throw something on that's comfortable. So I will link this one below. Walmart right now has the best men's clearance sweatshirts on sale. They have some crew necks and they have some, hoodies, which is my preference. Crew necks are good. I don't mind them, but I do prefer hoodies if I can find them. Hi guys, editing Christina coming in here, just letting you know that that particular sweatshirt is not on clearance anymore, unfortunately. It is now regularly $19.88, but there is a trick to Walmart. I just want to let you know, if you go on Walmart clearance and there's something that's a little higher than you want to pay, just go ahead and put it in your cart or your save for later, and then just watch it and it will eventually drop. So I currently, with my clearance, no matter where I'm looking, I look almost twice, maybe 3 times a week, stocking things that I have my kind of eyes set on. And that's kind of how I get the prices that I get. So just wanted to let you know, unfortunately, this sweatshirt is not on sale anymore, but it was worth it. I don't know if it's worth $20. I would have to let you decide that. But if you do put it in your save for later, just keep an eye on it and have your notifications on if you're a Walmart Plus member. If you're not, I highly encourage you to join it for 30 days free if you've never done it. There is a special reduced amount for Walmart Plus members if you are on a public state program of any sort, or if you're a student, you can get a lower price. Otherwise, it is $13.88, I think, a month, but you can experience it the first 30 days free to see if you even like it. So definitely check it out. I know I order from Walmart all the time, only online. You guys know I don't shop in the store, but let's go ahead and get on with today's video. I just want to let you know, unfortunately, this sweatshirt is not on clearance anymore, but it's still cute. Anyway, today is the 9th that I'm filming this. Actually, it's Saturday, so I'm doing it really early. This is Tuesday's video, so I think you should be okay if you are looking for this sweatshirt. If you're okay with men's sweatshirts, I am. I really like them. I think they're really comfortable. I did already share this, I believe, in a haul. I don't know if I've shared it on, I don't know if I've aired it yet, but it's on its way. I have quite a few hauls coming, and I don't look my best. I'm just going to be honest with you guys. The next couple months, you guys, I am just going to be au naturel, you know, because honestly, girl, I can't find a damn thing. So I am trying to slowly get myself together because when we start going to house showings, of course, your girl's going to have to look cute. So, you know, if you're a natural girly like me, then you know makeup's not really a big deal. Obviously, though, I am aging and it does bother me when I can't wear makeup because I like to be cute on camera if I can be. But all right, you guys, let's get into why we're here. So we are here to talk about moving. So I want to talk about what the total cost in transparency to move out of I think it was a 5-bedroom, 3.5 bathroom home. I'm almost positive it was considered 5 bedrooms because I don't know if they counted the law, but maybe it was 4 bedrooms. I'm going to say 4 bedrooms. I guess it was 2.5. I keep thinking it was quite a large house, but now that I think about it, there were dual sinks in the hallway with 1 bathroom. And then there was a full bathroom downstairs, so that's 2 bathrooms, and then the master bathroom. So this was a 4-bedroom plus loft, 3 full bath home that we moved out of. When we moved in, my mom was starting over from scratch, and she had purged a lot of things from her previous home. And so I had to start a little bit over again. Now, obviously, I mean, we had the budget to actually do everything, but I tried to keep it as minimal as I could. And I think I still spent maybe $2,800, which isn't bad when you're just trying to get the basics, you know, because I had to buy dishes, glasses, rugs for the house. I bought, you know, a few pieces of furniture, if you guys kept up with me in the previous home, and stuff like that. So we did have, you know, we had a lot to store, but I still feel like it wasn't that much, but maybe I'm wrong. I think my mom was just a little bit in panic mode, making sure that our storages were big enough. And the reason is because when she moved last time, she rented a 10 by 30. And there are a lot of storage places in my area that don't have 10 by 30s. They're very few and far between. There's like a lot of storage places that only have like maybe 10 by 30s. And so most of the time they rent 10 by 20s. And so that is what we got because that's all that they had. However, the storage place, as I mentioned in the last video, had the way that they do their 10 by 20s is they split them into 2. So it's 2 10 by 10s, I believe, which is kind of strange. Or maybe it's just one. I didn't go there. My sons were the ones that were kind of stacking everything and, you know, doing all the things. So this one was supposed to be 1 10 by 20, but it had a conjoining door. So I don't know because I haven't been there. If I do go there, I will show it to you in a future video. But usually the kids, I call them kids. They're full grown men, but I call them my kids because they're my kids. But normally they send us photos of the way that they organize it. And this time they did not. So I know that our storage units are on the same side. It's a column and they are drive-up storage units. And they're about 3 doors down from each other. So you have a conjoined one and then there's 3 units. And then my mom's is beyond mine, I think, or it might be vice versa. So let's talk about when we started to plan moving. So we weren't sure how much it was going to cost, but we did want to... we wanted to save, but in order to save, I want to say this out loud, in order to save, we had to invest, okay? So I will be honest. So there were lots of options for us. There was the 27-gallon storage bins that people normally buy when the holidays or for their garages and stuff. These are the norm. So you can find these everywhere. You can find these at Lowe's. You can find these at Sam's Club. You can find these at Costco. You can find these at Home Depot. So they are pretty common. In terms of cost, normally at Lowe's and at Costco, I want to say they're $8.98. So $8.98 a piece. At Sam's, they are $7.98. And I think Costco's the same. I think Costco, they might be $8.98. I'm not quite sure. They do come in 2 forms. They come in yellow lids or red lids. They also have a 40-gallon size as well. But we got 27 gallons. So that's what we started out with. We knew we were going to need quite a few of them. We knew that we wanted to invest in bins more than boxes. And, you know, let me tell you why. So after moving quite frequently in our lives, we've realized that boxes, one, get dusty and gritty. They also attract bugs, as you know. They attract insects, especially if you're going to be storing things in a storage unit and such. Normally, when we get a storage unit, we will go in, rent it, look at it, sweep it out, maybe pest control it, you know, a little bit, rather than, I think if I'm not mistaken, I think regularly, like regular storage facilities, usually they have rat traps and stuff, but I don't know if they actually, you know, use pest control on them. So we normally go in, sweep ours, make sure it's nice and clean, and then make sure it's sprayed. That's what we do. So in evaluation of this move, knowing we were going to have to move twice, we invested in bins. That's what we did. The majority of the bins that we bought had yellow lids, but then we started realizing that my kids were also going to need to pack, so we ended up getting quite a few with red lids, and that was just kind of to decipher whose was whose, more or less. We started out not knowing how many bins we were going to need. I'm just going to let you know that now. Normally these go on sale. You can get them $7.98, I think is the lowest you can probably get them. Sometimes if you get them on sale, like an instant savings at like Costco or Sam's, you can get them for like $6.98. That is rare, but you can find them that low depending on what kind of savings they're running. But we ended up paying $8.98. So it was about $10. It was $9 and some odd cents with tax. So I'm going to round that out to $10. So we ended up buying 70 bins. That came out to be about $848, I believe, somewhere around there. We couldn't believe it. Like, cause at first when we were starting to order them, we were like, oh shit, it's almost at 400. And then we needed more and needed more and needed more. And it just became this thing where we were packing and we were so pressed for time that we were like, we just should order them. And so we really didn't get a sale price on them, but I will tell you why I feel like this was not a bad investment. So you can order from Home Depot or from one of the contributors that use Rakuten or Fetch. Okay. So if you go into Home Depot and you purchase bins or whatever, Sam's Club, whichever you decide physically, you can take that receipt, take a picture on Fetch. If you purchase them online, you can also do this, I believe, in the app, if you have the app on the phone. And here are the two that I talk about a lot. But you can order them online as well. And usually you're going to see what the savings is. So, normally it's like 1 or 2 or 3 or 4%. There are certain days with Rakuten, I believe it's Tuesdays and Thursdays, I believe. Don't quote me, but it's either once a week or twice a week that Rakuten will double your percentage of getting that back. So overall, it was quite an investment. I'm not even gonna lie. However, it's great for long term. I mean, yes, we have 80 bins. Okay. Yes, we do. But we can use them now anywhere. They're stackable. You can take the lids off rather than stacking them, like beyond every one, right? Or you can take out the lids, stack them that way, and then put the lids inside of the empty bins. Now, 70 bins sounds like a lot. I understand that. And if you do, $8.98 or let's say $9.58, $9.78, something like that, and times that by 70, that's a lot of money, right? Let's do the math right now. What shall we? So if we did, I'm going to tell you the true cost. So $8.98, it's 7.75 tax, I believe here. So $8.98 times 7.75%, which is what I'm doing now. So you can see that quite clearly. Equal it's 69 cents tax on $8.98. So $8.98 plus 69 cents equals $9.67. So I was really close, right? So you round that out to 10, and 10 times 70 is a good $700, isn't it? 10 times 70, I think, right? That's with tax. 70, right? 10 times 70, yeah, $700, right? Yeah, $700. We spent $1,000 though, so we spent like $898. So let me see. So let's just do 900 divided into 10, and I'll tell you how many bins. I thought we only ordered 80, but maybe we didn't. Let's see. 10, let's see. What'd I say? 898. So 900 divided by 10. So we got 90 bins. I don't know if we got that many. I feel like no. Actually, I take that back. So $149 of that subtracted, we got some smaller containers. There were 13 gallons. Now, I will tell you that was a mistake on my part. I should have went to Dollar Tree. Dollar Tree sells the exact same storage bins with the clip lids and the shoebox ones. I know if you're a Dollar Tree shopper like myself, then they have those, and they have them very cheap. And honestly, those are durable. The lids are secure. So that was a mistake. So I think I bought like 10 of the small 13-gallon clip lids, and then I bought the gray top clip, not the flip lid, but the ones that clip, you press down and they snap. Those you can get at Dollar Tree. So I will tell you that at $149, for like, I think I bought 8 of the ones with the gray lids and 10 of the ones with the clip lids that flip up. And then the shoebox ones, I only bought like 6 of those, I think. But regardless, I feel like I could have saved a lot of money. So $898 divide, take away the 150 is about what we spent on bins. Okay. So I do want to say that. However, I will tell you, I don't feel like it was a mistake at all. Okay. Because those are going to last us no matter where we go for the lifetime, as long as we take care of them, keep them clean, wiped out, minimize the scratching on them, and they will last forever. So we will never have to buy another cardboard box again. So I understand that if you're not in a position to do that, and also you might not need as many as we did. You know what I mean? You might only need 10 or something. So it's not really going to cost you that much, but I highly recommend doing that because it really does save. But I will give you a caveat to that. And the caveat to that is that they are bulky and they are heavy. So I will tell you, if you do decide to use them, just make sure that you have someone with you that is able to pick them up. I mean, obviously, if you're fit, or you're very mobile and you're, in good shape or whatever, then they're not that hard. Also, you have to please be sure that you don't fill them too heavy because they can get, quite heavy to move. Now, my kids were very adamant because we move so much. And so the reason why we did this, I just want to say up front, is because my kids move us a lot every single time we move, whether they're moving us. My 2 sons are moving just myself and my son, or, this is a conjoining family type thing going on moving forward. So obviously that's why we had to order so many, and we haven't even started on this house. So we'll probably need a good 30 more. I'm not even going to lie. Because I have my whole kitchen here. I have some loose stuff here that needs to go in bins. So I have a feeling we're going to even be ordering more. But I will tell you that my kids use dollies. So I would highly recommend to sign up, for a free account for Lowe's, for Home Depot, for Sam's, Costco, whatever it is that you have an opportunity to see if there's a coupon or a savings, and get yourself a utility dolly and get yourself a standard dolly. And if you have a garage or somewhere to put it, definitely just invest in that. The reason is because even though I'm recommending things that are kind of a little bit heavy, you won't regret it. They do sell dollies and utility dollies that are not incredibly heavy, and my mom is the one that bought her own dollies. So obviously she was getting something that was really economical and that was not too heavy to pick up and move and this and that. So they do make them very eco-friendly, and also, so that you can, use them even if you're not like, if you're not super strong or whatever, do you know what I mean? They have them out there. So I would highly recommend if you move a lot, I'm just saying, it's really good to invest in bins rather than buying boxes, because 1, you're just wasting your money. 2, when you purchase boxes, they do attract insects and stuff like that because they get gritty, they get dusty. They're not like totally secure, even if you tape them. There's just something in the materials of boxes that attracts insects and bugs. And so when you do the plastic bins, they're secure. They keep everything very safe, dry. They keep them away from moisture and stuff like that. And now they make them affordable. So I highly recommend that, as far as part of being frugal, to invest in some of those. Now, you probably don't need as many as we got, right? But at the same time, I highly recommend that you consider that if you move frequently, or, you plan on moving in the future, because they just are really, really, economical, and they're just good for, they're multi-purpose, so you can use them for anything. So even if you only plan to move once, or whatever, and you bought like 10 or 15 of them, you can use them for anything. You can use them for your seasonal stuff. You can use them for your decor if you switch it out. You can use them for clothes. You can use them for pretty much anything. Just, I'm sure you already know that, but I would highly recommend investing in bins. Also the dollies, definitely. I mean, I can't tell you how productive it is to have your own stuff. I know a lot of times when you rent like a truck and stuff, like U-Haul or Penske or whatever, whoever you go with, they have dollies attached to the trucks, but it is really nice to have your own dolly. You know what I mean? So whether or not you may or may not need it at some point in your home or for something that may happen, let's say you've got something on the brink or you need to move something up or downstairs or something like that. Having a dolly is just fantastic to have. And they have two types. Obviously, they have your regular dolly and then they have your utility dolly. So I don't know if they make them multi-purpose or not, because we have two. We have a utility dolly and a regular dolly. So, but I know that it came in super, super handy when we moved the washer and dryer, when we moved all the bins. It was a great investment. So that is one thing I want to say, that I feel like was not a bad investment, especially because we knew we were going to move again. So that was the one thing I wanted to talk about in terms of saving money. And using your extensions and buying things online versus in store. But just remember, I know here on my channel, I do deals, steals, and reels, in terms of online shopping and maximizing your online shopping experience. But a lot of the extensions that I talk about, like Rakuten and Fetch, and there are some others out there that you can actually put on your phone and do in store. So you don't always have to use the two extensions that I promote the most. Only online. You can use them in the store as well. So you can get the app on your phone and you can actually maximize that experience on your phone as well. So another thing I want to say in terms of saving is Groupon. Groupon is a great opportunity to look around and get a good deal on cleaning, carpets, things like that. I started out looking at Groupon. I did not end up going with Groupon, but I did see a lot of good coupons and good deals on Groupon in terms of doing cleaning services. But the way that I personally did it was I just went on Google and I went with the highest rated, most affordable company I could find, which was in our area, a company called Reliable Housekeeping, I think it was called. And they offered, the reason why we went with them, not only because of their reviews, but also because they offered a multi-purpose service, meaning that they did carpets and they did cleaning. So there's a lot of companies out there that don't do that. I know there are several companies that do, but when I was calling, I was realizing that you might not be able to do both with one service. And we were able to do that. So we had a really good experience with that company. And we're just really happy that we went ahead with that. They also had really good rates as well. So I highly recommend, if you are renting and somewhere in your contract, it says, like even for here, we just got our instructions, as I mentioned in a previous video. We got our move out instructions, because we've done it way in advance, and they gave us a printout of what we absolutely had to do, what we could do, what we couldn't do. And they did say in writing that we had to have everything professionally cleaned and the carpets professionally cleaned. And then we have to provide receipts that we did that. So, they said that we could use someone that we found, or we could use someone that they recommended. So, I am going to go ahead and just call the company that we used before, because I think they were just great and they were affordable. So for a house that we moved out that size of 2,998 square feet, the cleaning was really affordable in my opinion. Originally, they had quoted us, I think it was $538 for both the cleaning and the carpets. And so the guy did an outstanding job. He was really sweet. Also, I really liked his staff as well. And she was really good. Like, one thing I do like about that service, I want to say, is that they gave me sort of a 2 to 3 hour minimum, but they told me that as soon as my person arrived, just give them instructions. I noticed with other cleaning companies, in terms of saving money and packages and things like that, that a lot of the other packages that were being offered through other services in our area were just like they were predetermined. You know what I mean? Like they already had a set something that they were going to do. And this company allowed us to, to take that time frame and kind of share with the person that came in to clean and say, hey, can you just focus on this, this, and this? Because we had only been there a year. It was just my mom and I. So it was really already immaculate. Um, Everything that needed to be done in the home that we moved out of was basically just a once over. It's very different than in here because we moved in here and everything was remodeled or revamped, renovated, whatever you want to call it. So it was freshly painted when we moved into this townhouse. But it's old. You know what I mean? It's old. There's a lot of rust and a lot of hard water buildup, and there's a lot of crevice type of cleaning here. At the new house we just moved out, that was really simple because it was a brand new build. It was completed at the end of 2024. No one had moved into that house or lived there prior to us, my mom and I living there. We had no children. We had no animals in that house. So obviously it was just her and I, and it was immaculate. I mean, so everything we had our cleaning people do was just a once over. I told the girl that was really sweet just to focus on the stove, do what she could in terms of the refrigerator. The sink, I asked her to just do a once over on the sink. She did an immaculate job in the bathrooms. And as I said, the bathrooms weren't really dirty. They were just needed a kind of a sparkle, if you will. So she made, the faucets look really nice. She made, the floor look nice, and the sinks and the countertops and everything look really nice. The toilet was not in bad shape. There were no rings or no stains or anything on the toilets. So everything was just in really good condition. The only thing I will say is that I had some ring stains on the toilet lids, and I was really shocked because I'm very diligent about cleaning my bathroom as I go. And I was like, there was a circular stain on the lid. I wish I could show you, but I didn't film it. I think I might have mentioned it in a vlog, but I might have mentioned it in a vlog because I feel like I sprayed this multi-purpose cleaner and all of a sudden it made this ring on the lid of the toilet seat, and they were brand new toilet seats. And I asked her, I said, hey, do you know why this did this? And she said, certain cleaners, I guess, will eat through, the paint or something. So that was the only thing that went kind of south in terms of me keeping up the bathroom and not knowing what cleaners to use. Because I basically just use the Equate multi cleaner with bleach. And so I usually spray it in my toilet every day. I don't necessarily need to spray the tub or the tub or shower every single day because I don't feel like I needed to do that. You know what I mean? Like, it was fairly clean. Like, I'm just really diligent about cleaning up after myself. I'm very meticulous about the kitchen. But I will tell you that these new basin deep sinks are very tough. They are, because they're flat and the water doesn't really have anywhere to go when you I don't know if any of you guys out there have a basin sink. Let me know if you have the white one or if you have the stainless steel, whether you're a renter or an owner. Let me know in the comments. But for us, I realized in that home, there was the deep, basin type sink in the kitchen. And what I realized with those things is they build up in the corners and crevices of the sink, and the water doesn't really go into the drain. It just sits flat on the sink. So that was kind of interesting. That was new. The only other buildup or wear and tear in terms of living there for a year was just kind of water buildup around the base of the faucet, for where the sink was. And also the spout when you run the dishwasher. That was another thing that was kind of needed a little bit of scrubbing, around it. But underneath the cupboards was immaculate. Even here at this older build, under the cupboards is fine. There's no stains, nothing, not in the bathrooms, nothing. Like, the carpet's new. The only thing I will tell you is I made some mistakes. So stay tuned to the end of this video because I am going to tell you also about the mistakes I made in this. Maybe I won't do that. Maybe I'll make a separate video for this one. I'll just save it. I'll save it because we're talking about the new build that we already moved out of. So I don't want to confuse you, but it was a clean sweep. Pretty much. Our garage was clean. We just needed to sweep it out. The backyard was fine. It was mostly paved. There was no greenery, no lawn, no grass, nothing. There was a stain that had developed over time through the weather. Outside on the sidewalk, I guess, of the backyard, it turned like a brownish stain color. So we didn't know what that was from. But they didn't charge us for that, thank goodness. But everything else with the cleaning service went afloat. I mean, it was really fantastic. So originally when we brought them out, we were only going to have them for 3 hours because that's really all we could afford, to be honest, because we had to do the carpets as well. But we realized between the days that we needed her to come back out. And the reason why is because We needed the floors to be done. We just didn't have time. We do have an iRobot or whatever it's called, this thing that's supposed to sweeper, that's supposed to go on the floor. My mom had purchased one from HSN and we could never get the app to connect to the actual device. So we weren't able to keep that going. We're going to try to get it to work here because we have Bella and there's a lot of hair on the floor and so forth. So my son is going to try to fuss with that this weekend and try to get the app to actually work on the device. But we never used it at the big house. So in the end, towards the move, we actually needed her, like the service, to come back out and do some last minute things. So because we had a 3-hour minimum, and we really only needed her for the floors, I just asked her to maybe kind of do a once over on the blinds, maybe just kind of wipe off, do a once over on the window seals. We didn't really focus on the crevices of the sliding door or anything like that. We were kind of worried about that too. We were wondering if they were going to charge us for that, but they did not. So there was just very minimal things that I had to find for her to do because there just really wasn't a lot. She didn't really need to do a lot more than when she was there the first time. So I will say that in the end, I think cleaning cost, I'm going to say probably about $800, probably altogether. Now, in addition to that, I will be honest that we found that we needed a hauler because we were running out of time. So I will be honest about that. My mom is pretty frugal too. I feel like she's not as frugal as me, but she went on to Nextdoor, which is an app or something that she uses quite frequently. And she found a hauler that she had used previously from selling her home. So she called them and they came out and did some hauling. Now they were a commercial hauler, which is, I was like, are you sure you want to do that? And that cost another good or $400 or $500. And honestly, they didn't really take a lot. They took some frivolous garbage that we needed, boxes, like, empty, like recycle stuff. They took some donation stuff that the veterans wouldn't take. They took a file cabinet. They just took some odds and ends, like, a broken fan, things like that. There was not a lot in terms of weight because I think they do it by weight, if I'm not mistaken, but they came out and it was about $378, I think is what she said it cost. So $380, somewhere around there. So that was another cost. And I will say, there are ways to save on that. I'm not gonna, I think one of the things that people get really frustrated with and really nervous about, or maybe they just don't want to hassle with it, is like rummaging through the internet to find the best price. It's kind of like when you go into Home Goods or TJ Maxx or somewhere and you're, or you go to a thrift store or you go somewhere where you actually have to hunt. I'm just really diligent about it because it's what I do on YouTube. So for me, finding the best deals and, finding the best frugal price possible, I'm used to doing that. So it's not really that tedious for me, or it's not really that excruciatingly painful, or it doesn't take too much time. I have a lot of patience with it. So with that, I do want to say that, there are ways to save. But I would say just Google it, read reviews, try Groupon. I don't know if I'm sure there's another place like Groupon. I just can't think of it right now. But I definitely have to say that the bins to me were the best option of how we moved. I just think, I know it was expensive. I know it was, but I feel like, man, that is a game changer because now we never have to worry about boxes again. I mean, we have so many bins. I think our biggest anxiety at this point is wondering if we're going to have room in the garage when we move, but we are moving to a house that is probably going to be about 4,000 square feet. It's going to be a 3-car garage. So we're not too worried about the storage, Another way to save, in my opinion, is to start really early and start, going through your things maybe 2 months before. I know that sounds like, wow, isn't that really early? It's really not. Go through everything you can, try to sell anything and everything you can on Facebook first, and then get all of your belongings together that are acceptable to donate to the veterans, because they need it. They'll come our veteran services come every Tuesday and Thursday in our area. It's free. We just put the boxes out on to the driveway and they come and they pick them up. So there's always veterans, you can actually take your donations to a Goodwill, but I prefer to have them come and pick it up because they're in the area anyway. So I think donating as well, but also maximizing your dollar and selling anything and everything that you can on Facebook is the answer. just starting early. I can't stress enough to start early, because even as early as we thought we started, it wasn't early enough. So I just highly recommend, whether you're getting out of a rental situation and you're buying a home, or you're having to sell your home because you're downsizing and you're having to become a renter, regardless, when you have an abundance of things, there is so many things you can do to save and to maximize your dollar. Because if you start to sell the things you know you're not going to need, or you never used, or that are still in good condition, you can sell a lot of that stuff on Facebook Marketplace and invest that money into bins, like I said, or into your truck, or into anything like that. So the next thing we also saved on is our truck. This is the way that I've learned to do it with U-Haul. U-Haul here for us, because that's usually who we use. There's a few different rental truck companies, but we use U-Haul. What I have learned about renting a truck, though, and I never knew, one of the managers told me the trick of that. And he said that when you rent a U-Haul, rent it for 24 hours. Don't just rent it for 6 or 8 hours, because they're going to end up overcharging you. So keep that in mind, you guys. If you need a truck and you're going to be renting, and you're going to be moving, get it for 24 hours. And then if you find yourself close where you need a truck for an extra day, just call about, somewhere around when like maybe halfway through the day, and you think, oh, this isn't going to work, we're going to need the truck a second day. Just call and let them know that you need the truck for another 24 hours. And I'm telling you, it saves you so much, because you're going to have to put gas in it. Gas here in Northern California is about $7. It's about $6.50, I think, or something like that. It's crazy here. So it's really expensive. We spent like $350 on gas. So when we first rented the truck for the very first day, it was $79 plus tax, because you have to get the insurance as well for the truck. So the first day was $79. The second day, I believe, was $91. I never understood why it was $91. I couldn't figure it out. But the truck the first day was $79. The truck the second day was $91. And the truck the third day was $69. I don't quite know why. I think it's because we moved on a weekend, and I think the rates change from the weekend to the weekday, but I'm not quite sure. But I will tell you that regardless of what the rates are, rent the truck for 24 hours, because it saves you so much more. Make sure you take your videos, your pictures, and all that stuff if you're going to be renting a truck. That's usually a requirement anyway. Nowadays, we learned with U-Haul that there's a whole ID, process as well to verify your identity. You have to take a picture of the front and back of your ID, and then you have to take an actual live selfie, which is new. We never had to do that before, so that was new. And yeah, I've just learned that renting your truck for 24 hours at a time is a lot better. So we ended up having our truck for 4 days. And so I think the total cost for the truck was like $400, I think, or so. Well, actually, that's not true. I think the truck itself was like I want to say it was $425 or something like that. But with the gas, because we spent $350 on gas, I would say it was $800. So as you can see, it does end up climbing. I'm not even going to lie to you. Rent, moving is very expensive, but I still feel like we did have the extra cost for the bins. But to me, having our own dollies, having our own bins saved us a little, right? Because every dollar you can save is finally, the storage. Now, there are plenty of storage units probably, or storage facilities in your area that will probably do free for 30 days, where you only pay like $35 for the first month. And then, you end up getting, I don't know, whatever it is for the rates. Now, the rates have multiplied here. A 10 by 20 or 10 by 30 used to be somewhere around $250. Now it's like $450. So we found a storage facility in our area that was offering 50% off. So we got half. So we got, 60 days of $150 or something like that. And then it will go up to regular price. Now, that is different for every storage facility. So I would just say, start getting on the internet and start looking on Google, and start looking for a storage area, either close to where you're moving, somewhere central from where you're moving to, from where you're moving from to where you're moving to, or possibly getting a storage closer to where you're going to move. If you have an interim. Remember, we had an unexpected interim, so this cost for storage was a little bit unexpected, but I still feel like it's not going to cost us. I mean, I feel like for my mom, it's going to cost a little bit more because we didn't expect to have to be in an interim of 90 days. We thought we were only going to have 60 days. So she rented her storage early. She rented her storage in April, which I think was a mistake. I told her at the time, I said, you shouldn't do it until May. And she's like, no. We have to be out of here by the end of April. But they start your billing when you actually rent the storage. So in my opinion, I felt like she rented it too early because she rented hers somewhere in the second week of April. And I feel like that was just too early because I rented mine the last week of April. And so now I get this month, May free, and then I get June, and then my full rate doesn't start until July, and we're moving in September. So she has to pay May, I think she has to pay April, May. She has to pay June, July, and August full price, which is pretty heavy. And then mine will start, so I get the full month of May half off, the full month of June half off. So I guess mine starts in July as well, I guess. But July, August. So I only have to pay 2 months of full price, which is still, it's quite a dent in my opinion. $390 or $400. See, the thing is there's a rate and then you have to pay for the insurance because, it's like it covers fire and all that stuff. So like I said, when you move, it's like there's always going to be unexpected things that happen. You're going to end up having to have the truck, longer than you think, or you're going to be pressed for time, or maybe you're not going to find the place that you thought you would. I mean, if you're an apartment person, then obviously that's easy. You walk in, there's several units and they tell you when they have one. When you're looking for like a duplex or a home, it's quite different, because sometimes you have to make that timeline fit, right? So like I said, we were hoping to have a smooth transition from one home to the other, but it just didn't work that way. Just to be as frugal as you can, sit down, make a complete entire list of what you think the cost is going to be for you, and then try to figure out what you think is the most frugal thing for yourself. For us, another thing we saved on quite, we always prepare for is tape, packing paper. I got my packing paper from Amazon this time. It was like 460 sheets. I got the biggest sheets available. We've made the mistake in the past of ordering packing paper and it was like the short ones, but we needed the long ones for like plates and mugs and all that stuff. So I ordered 420 sheets and it was like $49 or something like that. But for us, it was fine because we had so many things to pack that we kept running out of paper the first time. And this time it's like we just wanted to make sure that we had enough paper. So this time we ordered extra paper so that here we would have enough. So we ordered, 420 or 460 sheets or whatever it was for that price. I didn't invest in bubble wrap. I didn't think we needed it. I mean, you can do that if you want, but I feel like bubble wrap can be pretty expensive. Tape, on the other hand, you can get 8 to 12 rolls of tape, I believe, at Sam's or Costco for an affordable price. I think it's about $24, I believe. So you can, but we didn't really need packing paper. See, that's another thing I feel like is all the accessories, the random accessories for moving. When you use bins, you don't need it because the bins secure, they stick and they're secure. I mean, nothing, it's a one and done kind of thing. You can also put anything in a bin. I mean, we put everything we own in bins. We put kitchen gadgets, we put clothes, we put, we wrap dishes and put them in there. We did books, we did, seasonal stuff. We did towels. The bins were like the magic formula, in my opinion. The bins really became something that was, I'm just so happy we did that because it seemed like it was backbreaking at first, but now we just know this is the answer, and also the dollies, dude. The dollies were like, we rented one dolly from the U-Haul, but we had our own dollies too. So with the kids going in and out and having 5 or 6 bins on the dollies, we just have, our storages are nice and labeled and structured and stacked, and we know exactly what's in what. Another thing I like about the bins, not to circle back to the bins again, but another thing I love about the bins is the colors, because you can color code them. From what I saw on Home Depot, I don't know about this for Sam's, because I think Sam's only has the black bottom part and the yellow lid, but Home Depot has different colors. I think they even have green. I want to say they have green. It could be gray, something like that. But it's also nice that there's no price difference if you want a different color lid. So that's another thing. Like if you want to color code with a lid your kitchen versus your living room versus your bedroom or whatever it is, you can do it that way if you want. And again, we're an exception. I feel like, obviously if you're a person that has a big home, then you know what I'm saying as far as like the cost of moving. But I know some people do pods as well. we didn't do a pod. We didn't do a pod. We just did the truck and the storage. That's usually what we do. So, but we feel like it was worth it. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, it always is sort of a toss up of, did I spend too much money? Did I do it the wrong way? Was there a more affordable way to do it? And as many times as we've moved, I think this was the best thing we've ever done. And it really was a true game changer as far as not having as much accessory costs. Like I said, wrap, but I mean, the paper for sure. We needed the paper for dishes, for glasses, for anything that was delicate or breakable. I love the fact that we were able to use the bins for our seasonal stuff as well. All of our Christmas stuff, everything was labeled. So now when we move again, we know exactly where everything is going to go. I will tell you that the majority of the bins that we used were for our kitchen. We had a few things for different rooms, but our kitchen was the largest. I would say the key to moving is start early for sure. Okay. Like start 2.5 months early if you can. Start walking around your home, looking in your garage, set a weekend, for your partner or your husband or your wife or whoever it is to help you, kids, to help you go through your garage. If it's usable stuff, list it on Facebook. See if you can get it sold way before you move, like at least 2 months before you move. Start downsizing. And then after that, I would highly recommend, trying to see if you could get a county pickup. That's another way to save, so that you can put all your trash and everything on the street. There's also, the Vietnam veterans. That's a great way to get rid of some of the things that are still usable, but you're not using, and then just make sure that you start early. Start early is all I can tell you, girls. Start early. If you can organize your garage and get it set and organized for how you're going to move, I would recommend it. I know that's a lot. That's a mouthful to say, and it's a lot to just say, oh yeah, let's just get it done. But I can honestly tell you, if you can honestly take the time to organize your move properly, you are going to save so much time. So if you start early, you get in your garage, clear it out, organize it, pull it all out, and then organize it and figure out what you're going to donate, what you're going to keep, and what you want to sell way in advance. I know that's a lot to say, especially if you have young kids or you're working all the time or whatever the case is. But if you really take the time to dig in, you will save yourself so much time because you have your county pickup, which is a money saver. You have your donations, which is a money saver. You have Facebook, which is, if you have usable things that you can sell, that's a little bit more money in your pocket to go back out on the move. And then, of course, booking your truck in advance, preparing for gas is another thing, and then just trying, if you have an interim or you think you might run into an interim where you're going to have to stay with family briefly because, whatever the case is, maybe you couldn't find the perfect house, or maybe you're having your house built, or whatever it is that you have going on, definitely start pricing storages just in case. Prepare your family stay in case you don't find the right house. Ask if you can stay with family or something just for a very brief period of time. It'll give you an opportunity, if you have that kind of resource, to save a little bit of money to find even a better house than you anticipated to get. And, or extend your stay at your home as well, like in your apartment or whatever. I know for us, luckily they didn't change the rent on us. So we were able to extend our stay here from June 1st to September, and it didn't cost us anything extra. So there's lots of tips and tricks that you can do, in terms of donations. Like I said, county pickup, which saves for garbage and, furniture, broken down things you don't use. There's, Facebook Marketplace, like I said, just really scouring the internet for deals, Groupons for any services you need, finding the right truck and the right cost. This move, of course, was going to be expensive, and we knew that. So we're pretty happy with the outcome, though, because we did get it all done. And I do want to say in the final thought that we got our 100% of our deposit back. So, you spend, but if you do it right and you do it properly, you will be rewarded. We got a good reference and we got 98% of our deposit back. I think they charged her like $60 or something for the window pane. That was it. So we're very excited and very happy that everything turned out to be nice and clean. And we do hope for the same outcome here. But again, it's going to be a completely different experience here because this place is older, it's smaller, and there's an animal here. So that's going to be another thing I'm going to talk about in the next video when we move from here. But that one won't come probably until August sometime because we're not moving till September. So I have 2 videos coming up. This is going to be the first of the series. So what to do moving out. I don't know. I'll find some kind of title, but my top advice for moving out. This is video 1. So just so you know, the next one will be how much it costs to move out of here. And then the next one is going to be what was the difference between moving out of the big house and moving into the new big house? And how did that end up really, truly saving us in terms of the cost of moving into a new house? So I'm very excited. It's going to be a 3-part series. So I'm very excited. So let me know your thoughts. How do you move? How do you prepare? I would love to know, I know those that move across state, that's a whole different ball game. But I know moving from home to home can be expensive. I know if you're moving from apartment to apartment, it's not as hard because maybe you're moving from one unit to the other, or even just to a new complex. The deposits are different there. The whole entire moving experience is different. When you're moving from a duplex or a small halfplex or some kind of smaller setting, it's a lot different. It can be a lot more frugal and easier to do. But in terms of the cost of the truck and the necessities to pack your things, move your things and all that stuff, I think we've kind of mastered that. So let me know your thoughts about moving. Do you agree? Do you think that any of my tips and tricks are useful? I found that it's been very useful. It took me a long time to learn this, first of all, because we moved a lot and I didn't think we'd learn this much, but we certainly have at this point because we've moved so much. So I will be back for video 2, for episode 2 or whatever, when we move out of this place and let you know what it cost here. And then I will also come in for the final episode of what it costs to move in to the new home. So stick around, stay tuned. This is a special edition series. So I'm very excited to tell you guys what the move out cost will be for this house. And that is going to wrap up today's video. So thank you so much. If you stayed for the whole thing, I really appreciate you. I really enjoy, hope that you found anything I said useful to you or gave you some ideas, I hope, in terms of making a list and a to-do list and things if you are moving soon. Moving is always stressful, we know, and it's always expensive. So that is everything I wanted to share with you guys today. Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you guys are doing well, staying safe, staying healthy, and I will see you guys in episode 2 for this series. And if I don't see you that soon, stay tuned for the next video here, and enjoy the next haul. See you guys soon. Bye.